It was actually the vicar of Saint Martin de Gouré that made the first meaningful pastoral response, because within 24 hours we had a service with the island representatives, governor, chief minister, all that lot, and some of those who had survived some of the things that went on. And at the outset, sharing some of the pain and hoping and praying for a future, there was the church. Secondly, and I say this not to in any way blow my own trumpet, but there was a debate in the States when Senator Walker was putting forward what would be put in place to make sure that things were properly investigated. And it was actually the Dean that stood up and said, please, we need some guarantees. We need some guarantees that whatever investigations will be done without fear or favour, and there will be no place for people to hide. We need a guarantee that there will be no limit on the funding of those investigations so that everything can run its course. And we need a determination that in this island there will be the best safeguarding for the future anywhere in the world. And I didn't think that was Bob being political. It wasn't a political speech. It was simply saying, as someone that God has put here as a community leader, I want to ask you for these guarantees, Frank, in the name of God, because this is about men and women being made in the image of God. And if we are not as Christians involved in all of that, then we've missed the boat. So the answer to your question is, we have been, we are, and we will be. Yes, though I confess I think the word ecumenical tends to have connotations of boring. Because sadly it often means endless committee meetings, or that's its reputation. I think working together has a much more positive feel about it. Because if you're working together, the whole thing is about, well, let's try and achieve something. You don't just work together and sit around the table, but if we were going to say, look, there's a scaffold tower, chaps, here's a room in need of painting, let's 4 of us work together to repaint the room, there would be an obvious aim, there would be a strategy, there would be a plan, someone would go and buy the paint, someone would make sure we all knew how to use a scaffold tower safely, all those things. There would be things that we wanted to achieve, and we'd work together and we'd do it and we'd evaluate how we'd done it. And so I think working together is great. We need to make sure that we work together by talking to each other, certainly, but by actually working together. And here's where I think we sometimes go wrong. I'd like to work with Paul and his church, just providing that they do everything my way. So I've got this great plan, and I'd like to send a circular around all the other churches saying, here's my plan, I've decided everything, now please come and support it. That isn't working together. Working together is about, here's an issue. Here are our teenagers, and we have had a spate. My colleague, Canon Paul Brooks, has become an expert in taking teenage funerals. And people keep going back to him because he's so good at it. But it's terrifying. Misuse of drugs, suicide, whatever it is, it's terrifying. Now it seems to me that if we were to say as churches, look, this is a huge issue for us, for our society. Before we get the next story in the JEP, what can we do to help those in government or elsewhere actually make a difference to the lives of our teenagers? I haven't a clue what the answer is, but it seems to me that could be a thing on which we might actually work together. I do think those who've been around Jersey for a long time tell me that the way in which the churches work together has never been better. I don't take any credit for that. I think people like Nick France and David, the previous Methodist leader, and Graham, the present one, John Stuart Jones from Freedom and so on, take a great deal of the credit for that. But we have to keep on building on it.